Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. I know I haven't been posting for a while. I've been pretty busy giving priority to the kids. My two oldest kids are moving to southern Sweden, which is about like a 7 hour drive for me. So we will not be seeing so much of each other. So just drove my daughter to the train station today, and my son is leaving on Friday. So this is going to be a kind of a big change for me. I just really wanted to kind of just maximize my time with them and also get myself back on track now that fall is sort of here. I've been spending more time looking for work, applying for jobs, and I have gotten some results there. I've been called to two interviews next week, Monday and Friday, and I also have a lunch booked with the CEO of a kind of a bigger perfume company, one of the like major sites here. And they sell maybe mostly designer perfume, but they also are now starting out with niche, and they have like I would say like mainstream niche. I know that because I ran into this guy at the grocery store. He came up and introduced himself because he'd recognized me from like videos that I make in our local community Facebook group. And that was great fun. We were kind of like in line next to each other and like talking the whole time. And he told me that the sales of niche perfume have really I think he said it had doubled in 1 year, something like that. So I think that it's becoming increasingly popular. And so, I mean, he doesn't have a job offering for me, but it's definitely a good person to network with for me, for sure. The other two jobs have nothing to do with perfume. And I'm thinking this might be a good thing to kind of have on the side because of the kind of the problems that I am experiencing, like as an influencer. Or I mean, I don't really consider myself an influencer. I'm a de-influencer, perhaps. I just picked up that word from another influencer. Um, this thing with de-influencing, and I really don't think that she lives up to the word de-influence, and maybe neither do I, because I do try. I guess I am sort of influencing you to buy certain things because I do get feedback that, I went out and bought this because of you and stuff like that. But I'm still kind of on the hunt for the perfect reviewer or person to follow that speaks of perfume. And I've been watching Clémence CC Fragrance. She's this French girl, and she has let's see, she's got like 28,000, I think 28,800 subscribers. And her thing is that she never will sign an agreement that says that she's obliged to make content, but people are free to send her whatever. So I'm sure she has, she's always standing in front of like a whole wall of fragrance. And I mean, I'm sure she gets a lot of things for free. But I was kind of scrolling through her videos, just looking for something negative. Like, does she have anything there that is sort of like not super positive? And then I found a video where she wrote, bottles I've been gifted, but that I don't recommend, de-influencing you. And then it also had, and some that I really loved. So there wasn't much negative in this video. I think she first spoke of Kayali, and she thought that she really loves the fragrances, but she had some performance trouble with that. So that was like not an all negative video. And then she also reviewed like a colleague, an influencer's new release. There's this guy named Omar. He has a YouTube channel called School of Scent, and he's now he has his own perfume house now. And it's called, let's see, Atrium, I think. And the new fragrance that she was reviewing in this video was called Mr. Romantic. And this was kind of a aromatic amber fragrance. It had some lavender. It was kind of like a really smooth daytime, I think she even said extremely versatile fragrance. And she said it was a really good release. She didn't say really one negative thing about it. And she liked the bottle. She liked this and that. It was an all positive review. Which, I don't think she'll be wearing that fragrance. It was kind of like a classic masculine fragrance. And I mean, she has so many fragrances. And I know she likes, it seems like her taste is a little bit more feminine and fruity. And I don't know. I just can't quite take it seriously. She likes this guy. And I mean, I believe also that these influencers a little bit are kind of like, they won't criticize each other unless there's something really bad going on. She also, and then she she had this company that sent her like their full portfolio of fragrance. And then she's like, oh, fine, whatever, if you want to send it to me, but I'm not obliged. I might do something negative. I might not create content at all, but you're free to send me whatever. And when she gets the stuff, she realizes it's dupes. And this particular brand is called Orientica. But she did then start by saying that this is a dupe for Baccarat Rouge and this is dupe for Argento Fluidity Gold, and that, you know, they were good dupes. And the bottles are, you know, quite fancy. And I just feel like, you know, like clone houses, they know they're clone houses. So for them, this was something positive. She's actually, first she says she doesn't review dupes or clones, and then she did it anyway, and gave them a certain number of minutes that I'm sure will increase sales for them, or at least, you know, people will go in and click and find out about them. So she's not really following her policy, if you know what I mean. So this Orientica, I guess she wasn't impressed, and she said there was no oud in their oud collection. And she said she had nothing against when other people wear dupes. She was actually giving them, she was showing the bottles and everything like that. So I'm sure that this company got something out of sending her this stuff after all. So I don't know. The hunt still goes on. I'm still looking for that perfect reviewer. And just as a little follow-up on this little thing with Ramsey that I was upset about, you know, he's continuing now. He made like a quite long interview just unboxing things that were gifted to him from Anouge from Enchanté Perfumes. I didn't see the whole video, but this was a kindly sent gift to him. But then he, of course, makes a huge shout out to Enchanté Perfumes, which is a Canadian website that specializes in rare and vintage perfumes. And I was, you know, curious about this site, and I'm sure a lot of other people were. So, I mean, this is definitely marketing and nothing else. So he keeps doing it. This site has... I saw that I would have loved to like buy a bottle of Safari from Ralph Lauren, like an original bottle. I guess they go in and buy, you know, like leftover stock maybe, because they're, I think, like unopened. Maybe not all of them, but like this particular one was. And I didn't think the price was so outrageous. I think I figured it was like, maybe it was like $150 or something. And I could probably get it for half that, like a current formulation. But then there was like, you have to add tax, and then you have to add like custom fees, which I don't even know what they would be. So I will end up paying quite a lot. So I won't be getting a bottle, but I mean, it's nice to know that there is a place where you can get, if you're really, and it's really important to you to buy a nostalgic scent, it seems like a good place. And I know Ramsey does buy a lot from them, and that's how they kind of got to know each other. And I'm sure this Anouge is a friend by now. So it's not that. It's mostly that, like, talking about gifts, it's marketing, but he just doesn't want to call himself that, but that's what it is still. Anyway, what I've been doing lately, I have been, of course, wearing a lot of perfume, testing a lot of perfume, even though I haven't been posting, and I just thought I'd share a couple things. One old vintage perfume, I forgot it upstairs, I have a mini of it. It is Mousse de Cartier, which is this little mini that someone gave me, is like 30 years old, and it has been in someone's attic away from sunlight, but the actual juice has become like really, really oily, and I'm not sure it's kind of in mint condition, but I learned anyway from where I wore it one last time, and I decided that Mousse de Cartier is not for me, at least not the old formulation, or not the particular bottle that I have. And I kind of I lined up all the notes. I kind of do it like this, and I compared it to Chypre Palatin, which I think is from MDCI, which I feel is kind of the same type of fragrance. It's kind of like an ambery Chypre. It's a Middle Eastern style perfume, but it still has that kind of soapy vibe. And they both have kind of a big dose of galbanum in the opening. So what I do is I underline all the notes that they have in common, and sometimes notes that are like almost the same, like they both have galbanum, so I underline that, and then I kind of circle the ones where, for example, Mousse de Cartier from 1981, it came out, by the way, has bergamot, lemon, and mandarin, or green mandarin orange, and Chypre Palatin has clementine, but that's like sort of similar. And then they both have some fruity notes. Mousse de Cartier has peach, pineapple, and peach and pineapple, and Chypre Palatin has plum. And then they both have like rose, iris, and jasmine, leather, and vanilla. But there are also some differences. One has civet, one has castoreum. And I think I found that I think what turns me off about this Mousse de Cartier is that it is too bitter. There's something about this. I think that the dose of galbanum is too big. Maybe some of the other top notes, like that fruitiness, might have, sometimes the top notes kind of die when you have like a really old bottle, so that might be it. Not sure, but I think that they've just overdosed that bitter note, and because this bitterness really, really bothered me, and it was like disturbing for so many hours. It really lasted a long time, but I would like to try a modern formula and see what I think about it then. And Chypre Palatin I really love. I think they've gotten just the exact right dose of galbanum. And I think the dominant note maybe is like Tolu balsam. It's very balsamic. But it has this like animalic undertones. And they both have vanilla. So I mean, one is good and one is not. And I just sometimes realize that, you just sometimes just to put a fragrance away and just I'll just pass it on to someone. Someone will be really happy to have that Mousse de Cartier and maybe can compare with a modern formula. Okay, but speaking of new and modern formulas, I just bought this fragrance. It's Moschino by Moschino. A fragrance marketed to women. It's an EDT. It says here eau de toilette. I don't know if you can see that, but the current formula the bottle looks like this, but it has like a ribbon going like in a cross like this with the Italian flag, the colors of the Italian flag, so red, white, and green. And I'm not 100% sure that this is the original formula. This was what it said, but I got it secondhand. But I got it really, really cheap, so I just decided that it was worth the risk. I don't know what shape it was in. And the current formula looks like this. It has this color, so you see the difference in color. And this one has not become like really, really oily, but of course there could be some aging involved in it for sure. They're quite similar. I mean, I can definitely tell it's the same fragrance, but there are also some major differences. I just sprayed them on each one arm just to kind of refresh my memory. They're like, I find that this one says God Dieu, and that means Merry Christmas in Swedish. Someone sent this to me as a surprise. She wanted me to review it in our local Facebook channel without knowing what fragrance it was. And it's kind of like a light ambery fragrance, a little bit of the same style as Chypre Palatin Mousse de Cartier that I was just talking about. But these are much not as heavy, I would say. They're like a lighter kind of wear, but they both have galbanum in the top. I only have the notes for whatever formula. I don't know if they still have the same notes, but there's like nutmeg, there's marigold, plum. So plum, just like Chypre Palatin, is the same. And the base notes are pretty similar, but maybe not quite as animalic as the other ones. Like there's no civet or castoreum or anything, but there's musk. I definitely get like kind of like a heavy honey note in this one that I don't get in the more current formula. And then I think the differences are the biggest in the opening. And then as they kind of dry down and as time goes by, like later on in the day, I was like, now I don't know if I can tell the difference. But I think this one there's just more of this one. This one smells like more, which I find is interesting. I'm going to keep trying them because I'm not giving you like a full review. I haven't worn this like by itself, and then I've worn like this by itself more than I wore this once. But I mean, to do the side by side, you have to kind of wear them a little bit more. There's something different about them, and I definitely prefer this. I just can't quite pinpoint what it is. It's a little bit smoky, and I don't get that from the current formula. So there's something, maybe it's labdanum. Labdanum is not listed. And then, okay, the base, it has amber, sandalwood, patchouli, vanilla, and musk. So I'm not quite sure what's doing it, but I just find that really interesting now that I have both. And I'm definitely going to be sending a decant of this to the one who gave me this, so she can do the same comparison. And speaking of by the way, of vintage, earlier this year I bought Ivoire de Balmain, which is also a galbanum fragrance, but it's an iris green fresh fragrance. But this is something to take into consideration when you're shopping, you know, older bottles. Now when I spray this, it was good for the first few times, and now when I spray this, half of the perfume runs down the length of the bottle and half of it comes out of the atomizer. So I'm losing, it runs down on the table or on the floor. So what I need to do is I've started to decant it with a little pump. So I can actually use the juice, but it's a disappointment. You know, I want the bottle. I mean, I think these bottles are a little bit ugly. They're vintagey, they're plasticky, but you know, I'd rather at least have this bottle rather than, you know, spray it from a decant. That they always risk going fishy, is my opinion about decants. I still haven't found a decant that's like fish smell proof. Anyway, let's see what else I had for you today. Okay, so I did another comparison. I have now Shalimar, the PDT, like the really old, I don't know from exactly what year, but PDT as a concept hasn't been around for quite a few years. It stands for Perfume de Toilette. And I think it was that now they call it EDP. And I think there was EDT and PDT. I'm not quite sure, or if PDT was even before the EDT. But I do have an EDT version of Shalimar from 2010. And according to my friend who's been in fragrance since she was 12 years old, she said this is around the time, or if it was 2012, where perfumery really started to go downhill in terms of quality because of regulations. So I thought it was so maybe this one kind of just made that what's it called, that time point or whatever. So like after this, it would have been worse. But I find that these, I have PDT on this hand and the EDT 2010 on the other hand, and I find them similar. I find them really similar, but the PDT is slightly better. But I also get a really baby powdery vibe. Like it does smell a lot like baby powder, but in a really good way. I know my kids told me that I used to wear a Byredo fragrance called Green that is now discontinued that smelled a little bit like this. And they always said it smelled like diapers. Like not used diapers, of course, but like diapers, like maybe baby wipes or something. You know, this is not the way you should smell fragrance this close. You should kind of just be getting the vibe. And I know when I tried the EDT, I've tried these both and I've worn them both, and I love them both. And I think that they're pretty close to each other. And just to kind of like, if you guys want something Shalimar-esque, I have two recommendations for you that kind of remind me of it. And one is Bijou Romantique from Etat Libre d'Orange, which is really reminds me. It has that powderiness. But this is a little bit more like youthful. It has a little hint of coconut. I wouldn't have been able to say that it was coconut, but I think the coconut gives it kind of a, it just has a little slight roundness to it. And then also Opus 1144 by Filippo Sorcinelli's brand Unum also gives me this same kind of a little bit heliotrope kind of vibe. So if you're looking for, because I've tried like Shalimar EDP. Wait, am I mixing it up with opium now? Never mind, forget what I said. I don't know these fragrances and modern formulations. I mix them up with opium because I didn't like opium EDP. It's really, really sour on me. But today's video was supposed to be about, I just wanted to share some kind of funny stories about how niche perfume can come across to people that are not like into perfume so much. I met with this guy. I just recently sold my bottle of Koala from Zoologist, and we decided to meet for coffee and have a nice chat about perfume, and we ended up, you know, doing some swaps. He got some vetiver fragrances from me. This is my scent of the day, by the way, Myrrhe Imperiale from Armani Privé. It's this color of juice. This is discontinued. So I've worn this since this morning. It's very smoky. It's a nice amber, but it's on the smoky side for me. But this one is a typical example of a perfume that smells different from a distance than when you go like this. So smokiness kind of gets almost a little bit like, you know, when you're brewing coffee and like whatever's left in the filter when you're finished brewing the coffee, In Swedish, it's called sump, kaffesump. That smell, like a burnt kind of bassy smell, when I put my nose up close, that's what I get. But when I smell it from afar, I get more of the vanillic tones that kind of are combined with this kind of smokiness. Anyway, okay, what started me to make, I thought this would make a funny video, is I went out, I was wearing Woman in Gold by Kilian. I just have a little travel size of it. This is like a 7.5 or something. And I always feel like this is such a safe fragrance that's going to please anyone. Super feminine, kind of almost marshmallowy, vanillic, orange blossomy type of fragrance. And then someone told me, it's an EDP, someone told me that I smell like mosquito repellent. And this guy, this guy is on the spectrum, let's say. And maybe like if he had been kind of more like a, you know, normal, so knows social cues, he probably wouldn't have said anything, you know, but like I do kind of appreciate his honesty, and like how that just really kind of was interesting to me, because that's not what I want to smell like. Another comment I think I've shared before with you is when I wore Battito Dali from Profumum Roma, someone told me that I smell like baked potato, and I'm like, don't want to smell like a baked potato. You know, I was out like in this nightclub, or it's kind of like an early night club for people my age. This is a really odd smell that I really love, though at the same time it's like orange blossom, myrrhe, coconut. I think it might have a little bit of mint. No, not mint, but there's something cold about it. There's something else in here, maybe some woodsy note as well. Maybe pink pepper, I don't know. It's fresh, but it also has like a balsamic touch. And I don't get baked potato from it at all. But this girl was like, I love baked potato. I'm like, okay, but this is not what I want to smell of, even though, and I don't even like potato myself, so I don't mind the smell of a baked potato, because I know it has that kind of like bready kind of smell, but it's not what I want to. Okay, and then, no, and then I had this kind of like a little funny conversation with other people in the group that offered their stories about perfumes that, oh, and me and this guy that had coffee, we started talking about it. That's what kind of got me thinking, because he said that a lot of his friends say that honey-based fragrances smell like pee to them, like it gives it like a urine kind of vibe. And I know that my daughter sometimes gets that from some of my fragrances, so that's something to keep in mind. Someone said Psychedelique from Jovoy. She several times got that it smelled like mold, and she says also that whenever she wears patchouli dominant fragrances, her partner will say that it smells like mold, which is very unfortunate, I think. There is actually a perfume that really smells of mold to me, and that is Relique d'Amour from, what is it from? Oriza El Legrand, I think. That really smells like, it smells like old bathing suits that have been left in a plastic bag too long, and you find them and you're like, oh, this smells terrible. I don't like that fragrance, though, at all. Guidance smells like BO. It smells like sweat. Someone said that Teroni from what is Teroni? It's from Orto Parisi. It's that fragrance that it's really dark red, and it has like a volcano vibe. I think that's what the inspiration came from. And I have actually owned a bottle myself that it was so difficult to wear, like more difficult to wear than Guidance. Like one drop would fill the room, and in a not people-pleasing kind of way. But I do really love the smell, but I just could not wear that fragrance. The reaction this person got, I think it was a man, what have you done? That was really funny. Another person shared that she had, I think it was her dad, she'd given a decant of a Roja fragrance, but she couldn't remember which one it was. And his partner had said that it smelled like an old bingo hall. Like of old people and kind of like staleness or something. I thought that was also really funny. Someone said Naxos from Xerjoff smells like morning urine. That's the honey again. That's a really honey heavy fragrance, like a tobacco and honey fragrance. Someone said that she'd gotten that Oud bouquet smells like poop. Not a great reaction either. I have a 10 milliliter decant from that, which I've only gotten positive compliments from when I've worn that, I'll have to say. But I thought that was kind of funny too. And I know that oud sometimes does come across to people as kind of a little bit, smelling like feces or something. But I don't think that Oud Bouquet has much oud in it. I think it's mostly about those sweet notes, but it's really kind of a deep sweetness. It's a very difficult to wear fragrance. Nudiflorum from the same brand, Orto Parisi, Dead Animal. So if you own a bottle of that, you might want to think again. Oud Wood, how should I put this? Smells like a man's genitals. I don't hear much about Oud Wood these days. When I was new in the niche world, everyone was talking about Oud Wood. That was like the niche, like kind of like Creed Aventus. Everyone had a bottle. Like if you were a man and into niche, you had a bottle of Oud Wood from Tom Ford. But I don't know. I don't hear it so much anymore. Oh yeah, this guy. I think this was the guy that I met for coffee that said that when he works kind of he works in a factory. I think like he's in charge of machinery in the car industry or in the truck industry. And someone came into the room when he was wearing Le Labo Patchouli 24 and was wondering if there was a burnt fuse or something. Like something there was something wrong. You know, his nose came in. Oh, there's something that has like burned up or whatever. I thought that was also really funny. Royal Water. I think it's a Creed fragrance. I'm not sure. Someone just like me with Woman in Gold got mosquito repellent from that. Someone's partner says that Baccarat Rouge smells like old buttered popcorn and rotten fruit. That's pretty bad. For me, Baccarat Rouge 540 is like, I can't even smell it. I'm anosmic to that fragrance. I think it's like the only one that I really can't smell. There are also a few Juliet Has a Gun fragrances. I think it's their thing that they use a lot of these like ISO E Super and these molecule type of notes. And my nose doesn't pick up on that, I think. I just recently tried and gave away a sample of Vanilla Vibes from there. And that one I could actually smell, but I thought it was horrible. I did bring something down that's kind of like in the same ballpark. And this one I love, and that one I hate. This one is called Serge Lutens Dans les bleus qui pétillent. It basically, I can't remember what these words mean, but it's something in the ocean. My friend describes this as a church in the ocean. It has that kind of like wet stone kind of feeling. I mean, this is definitely a marine fragrance, but they have at least not made the mistake of mixing it with vanilla, which is weirdly enough, though. I just got Undamaris 8, from Filippo Sorcinelli's brand Extrait de Musique, and that one that's like an ambery vanillic base combined with marine qualities, which works in that one. But in Vanilla Vibes, it doesn't work at all. To me, it just all clashes and smells really cheap. And I just could never, it just doesn't work. But this works, actually. This is really beautiful. I love this. I mean, I've been through a half a decan since I got this just a few months ago. That's a lot for me because I have a lot of fragrances that I rotate. Probably just like you guys watching, right? Okay, I have a few more. Someone came out when someone was wearing By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela Replica. And he's like, did I turn off the grill? They had just been barbecuing, which, gives you an idea. It has that, it definitely has like a fireplace kind of vibe. Lover's Tale, or it's called The Lover's Tale, perhaps, from Francesca Bianchi, smells like gasoline, according to some. So those are some funny little stories about about what perfumes can smell like to other people. What I typically do, like if I'm going to, I thought this was a safe bet, Woman in Gold. But I guess maybe there is no such thing as a safe bet because everybody's taste is different, right? But I get a lot of that I smell like a grandmother from my son. She also their grandmother on their father's side. And she's an older lady, she's like 80, 81, 82 years old. And I guess she wears perfume. She wears nice perfume. But still, I don't like when they say that I smell like her, even though she always smells good. And one of those fragrances that I'm thinking might be a little old ladyish is, this is a current formula from a brand that I was really kind of intrigued by when I went to Paris. And it's Tabac Blonde from Caron. And they have like a completely new lineup. I think maybe the bottles are new, and the formulations might be a little modernized. I'm not sure. But this one is It's so beautifully done. It's just a really, really beautiful floral fragrance. And I don't know, but it's a little bit too ladylike for me. And I get that feeling like I'm an older woman. And I don't know, I think I would rather this Moschino by Moschino, it makes me feel like a younger woman. So yeah, that's what I choose. I'm just kind of looking at the time. I need to hang up here because I'm going to dance aerobics class, and now I have all this perfume all over. I have an the EDT and the EDP of Shalimar here, and here I have a little squirt of Caron, or the Tabac Blonde. Now I'm feeling the dry down. I think it's the oak moss that's turning me off, actually. It must have a little oak moss in there. And then I have what I hear I was also trying. I hear I have Moschino, the two different formulas, so I have a lot going on. Plus I had Myrrhe Imperiale from Armani Privé kind of on there since this morning. So I might have to scrub a little bit before I go into this dance studio because it's like really kind of crammed. And I need to get my bag together. Gotta go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share your stories about fragrances that have you've gotten funny reactions from, because we need to hear these. Bye-bye.